What's up, Benchwarmers? We are back in the studio on this glorious Monday night. I say glorious because we just witnessed probably one of the most interesting matchups this afternoon. I'm starting to like Monday Night Football in the Prem.
Fuck out of here. I think that's why Eric didn't come today.
If you are tuning in on YouTube, you'll see that our studio is one man short, one usual gunner short. We're not going to say anything why. He had something important come up, but there's always a conspiracy that
He became Edgar when
certain results
for Liverpool's big games, Edgar decides to
disappear.
For this time, for some reason,
this is the first time I'm being called out on this.
Which is weird.
Listen,
this is the first time I'm getting called out on this.
Listen, it happens every time.
We talk about it all the time.
But I'm here to talk about the result.
It's the first time you're here since it's been happening, right?
For real.
Look, there's only enough room in here for one Estrada. So
Yeah.
I had to come replace
one at a time.
one that's here.
One
right?
Estrada at a time. Well, I do want to welcome you guys to this Monday episode. My name is Diego the Troll. We're joined in the studio by Edgar the Smug and Marco the Interrupter.
Woo-woo.
So before we get started, Marco, where can everyone hear us?
They can hear us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Stitcher by searching Benchwarmers FC.
Nice. And you can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter by searching up Benchwarmers FC.
I don't think that one's going to get you, but all right. And then you can watch our YouTube videos of our podcast or Tech Ball. You can do it on YouTube at Benchwarmers FC.
Why do you sound so
TV.
tired of it?
Me?
Yeah, don't sound tired about it. Tech ball is
I'm not,
phenomenal.
look, today is not one of my best days. It is what it is.
Was it?
If Pepe would have played tech ball, he would have got that.
If Pepe would have played a lot,
he would have missed the table 2 feet in front of him. Do you remember that one day that Eric was like he was just really down after an Arsenal game? I think it's just the thing that you guys go through.
Withdraw, bro. It's a horrible weekend. This whole weekend has been bad for you.
Yeah.
But except for last night, but that's different.
Oh
I
my
laughed
God.
a lot last night.
Wow. Okay.
We'll get into it.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. If you want to drop us a line, don't forget that you can email us to the email address benched@benchwarmersfc.com. And of course, we always like to remind you guys, when you find us on any of our social media platforms, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We want to hear from everyone, especially when it comes to banter, especially when it comes to Pepe, and especially when it comes to Arsenal.
No.
Pepe, if you're listening, we got a tech ball for you.
Work on your touch.
That being said, we'll do a little housekeeping. Again, like Edgar had mentioned, Tech Ball, it's amazing. We just got the video up on our YouTube, and we posted it on Instagram, which was great, and Facebook if you want to check that out. It was an awesome experience. I can't rave enough about it. It's always really fun to get people on the table to challenge each other. And it's interesting to see everyone, like literally everyone that you would think like age range or skill range, everyone has a good time playing it.
Honestly, I was excited about doing it again. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to.
You beat me to it.
I hate you.
You beat me to it. There is always next year, Diego.
Yeah, right. Don't even bring that up, man. Please. For those who don't know, or maybe you're not aware because he doesn't rep them enough, Marco is a Pigeon Head, and that's a New York City FC fan, and yeah, so that's the only thing that gave him some kind of respite this weekend. The fact that Red Bulls.
We'll talk to it. We'll talk about it a
well.
little bit more.
Yeah, we're gonna talk. We're gonna bring it up. So, hit that kickoff whistle, Edgar, and we're gonna get ready to go. So the first thing here on the docket is Pukki Party over. I'm actually really upset about this because we had such a good fantasy ride on this guy, and now it's done.
I had the best fantasy ride out of everybody.
You picked them up from the beginning.
First.
Yeah, from the
I picked them up
beginning.
first.
We gotta give you props to that.
But you know what? I'm also hoping that everybody drops them,
so that you can.
and I'm gonna keep them. I'm like,
you're gonna ride it out?
I'm gonna ride it out.
No
Come
way.
on, I gotta do it. Like I've seen it following lineups in games. He's got a chance. If he doesn't do it in the next two, all right, that's it. I'm done.
You give him 2 weeks?
I'm giving it 2 weeks.
I actually gave him till this one. That was it. I'm still considering it. Like, let's see what happens throughout the week, and by Friday I'll make the decision to kick him out or not.
That's a good move. Honestly, this really it was like a lackluster 0-0 draw against Bournemouth, and I'm talking about it from Pukki's perspective because all he got from it was a late yellow card in the last 5 minutes of the game, which has made matters worse. we can't really say much about it. After riding that high, we were talking about it here, beating City at home. You lose the next week, and kind of like that wave of form just like really slipped off. I don't know what's going on at Norwich. Really, I thought they were going to be the new Swansea. You remember that?
Swansea's in the second division.
That's
so
why they definitely are.
They're gonna have a swan story.
I'm talking about the Michu days, all the OGs, all the Prem OGs. If you remember Michu, that was a team back then. That was an awesome team back then. But there's not much to say about it. I do want to move really quickly to another match because there's a few that we have here on the docket. Watford traveling over to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Watford looked like a change team, honestly. They were playing very defensive, but they were very, very good in defense. And it's unfortunate they didn't take away the 3 points.
You think so?
Yeah.
There's more VAR controversy in that.
That's what I was going to ask. Was there a VAR controversy or not? No, like they didn't participate or they didn't look it over for the Spurs goal?
Yeah, and Eric and I had a debate about it. I don't think it was a handball. I think it was fair.
Really?
I feel like it came off of Dele Alli's shoulder, and it was a defensive mistake, so it wasn't like, they would have gotten lucky, Watford, because they should have been scored on because of that stupid defensive error. But Dele Alli, it looked to me off the shoulder, and it was controversial.
And that's the problem that we've always gone back to previously. Even Diego has said it, that we don't know where the shoulder is defined, where it becomes a handball compared to another part of your body. So if that's the case and it was that, I wouldn't care. Give him a goal.
Give him the goal.
There was also the De La Felshaw. I'm just reading that now.
That was a penalty.
You really think so?
That was a penalty. Absolutely.
They're saying that the ref didn't even take a look at that.
They didn't. That was bullshit right there. But that goes to the same thing about VAR, that they're not using VAR to its full capacity. Their bar is so high that honestly, I think the bar doesn't exist. They're just not going to call it.
That's what I was also hearing today, was that I think that as of today, all the EPL games that we've seen, which is I think it's over 100 already, they've never gone to check out the replay.
No, and the refs aren't going to. Not the ones on the field. My understanding was that the ref upstairs would tell them whether it is or it isn't. But they haven't even made that call from the Hawkeye yet.
I've seen it. Well, yes, they have, because you can see it on the big screen. Which on that one, it said no goal. But then the ref on field said goal.
He overruled it.
Yeah, but I think that was just a mistake when the guy had the 2 buttons.
No, yes.
You know what I was thinking too?
No.
I really think that it's not as clear as we think. We think that there's 2 big buttons up there.
Can you imagine?
Goal, no goal. I bet you it's like the most complicated thing to find a goal.
There's
probably
2 large buttons, red and green. We know it's not true. That's not how it really works. There's a lot more to it.
Yeah.
But I would love just to be there and be like, I guess it's this one.
That's actually pretty funny. I wouldn't believe. If we ever get the chance to be inside a VAR room, I'll remember this day. I'll remember this conversation. I'm gonna be asking them, "Where's the red and green buttons? I want to see them now."
I was told that there was a large button. One was red and one was green, and that would tell the person if it was yes or no.
Oh my god.
Either way, Heung-min Son coming on as a sub. You had Dele Alli, you had Harry Kane, Eric Lamela was also on there too. I think Lucas Moura was also thrown on.
Well, he got taken off.
Oh yeah, sorry, taken off. That's what I mean. What's going on with Poch? It's one thing to be
his sourpuss face is finally
to have a tight game at home, but they were down since what, like the 6th minute, I think.
Yeah,
I have it right here. They were down since the 6th minute, and they couldn't come back. Yeah, 6th minute. Doucouré scored that goal.
Yeah.
And then they tied it up on what was total confusion with shoulder, not shoulder, with 5 minutes to go. Like this against Watford. Like, is it just Watford turning up against London clubs?
I don't want to say that Watford's a bad team, because previous to this season, they've been a difficult team to beat.
They've been difficult, yeah, sure.
Yeah, they've been a bit of a bogey team.
They give everybody a run for their money.
Yeah,
sure.
And maybe that's just them coming into form now to possibly, make it a little difficult again. Just because they look trash this season so far.
And we've always seen it. We've always seen that with specifically Watford, but a lot of smaller teams, that they always find that one game that they just show up.
We'll get it. We'll talk about small
Yeah,
teams getting
yeah,
into larger teams a little later.
That's a good segue because we're gonna move on now to what really shouldn't be considered a small team because Crystal Palace have been doing actually fairly well for themselves with Roy Hodgson.
What?
They did end up on the negative end of the scoreline for this weekend, but losing 2-0 at home to City, I think is I don't know. If I were them, I would take some respite out of that. It looks like City is encountering some roadblocks now. Aguero not starting. Like, what do you guys think about that?
That's fine. He's got to get started getting transitioned out. So you bring in Jesus, and that's his point to score. If he didn't score by minute 60, Aguero was coming on. But he scored.
Yeah, he did.
So, all right. You're starting to fill your shoes that you were meant to fill in. And then Raheem Sterling pulling some fucking magic. Just absolutely magic. And David Silva knowing how to take it.
I'm kind of salty admitting it, but that was a really nicely taken goal. Because on the replay, the slow-mo that they showed David Silva just watching that ball, he didn't take his eye off it for a second. And he hit it perfectly right through the keeper's legs. Like, he knew exactly where he was, knew where the goal was.
He timed it perfectly.
It was great. It was a David Silva goal.
I personally started watching the game like, all right, come on, Crystal Palace. You guys can be a bogey team sometimes. Do us a favor. And I saw the first goal, and I'm like, all right, well, all they have to do is tie the game.
Yeah.
And then I see that piece of magic, and I just started laughing. I enjoyed it because that's beautiful football. That's joga bonito.
Yeah.
Without any Brazilians, which is amazing.
That's a great goal. Great goal. There's not much to take out of that, really, other than the fact that, like we had mentioned, Aguero is being transitioned out. We saw Phil Foden, the most valuable player that Pep has on his team, get like 30 seconds of play in like the 91st minute. Some people are actually pretty upset about that. Well, and it raises the question, like, if you have someone on the team, and I'm talking, completely neutral here, like a starlet, someone young that you want to start getting, team minutes, and then the manager of the club goes ahead and throws him on the 91st like an afterthought. Like, how would you feel about that?
I kind of think that's bullshit. Because I think they usually do those just to kill time.
Right.
So you'll become a starlet, a future GOAT, or whatever you want to call him, into just a waste of time. Because that's really what he's doing. Doesn't mean that he's always.
That's a conversation
if it happens multiple times, then I'll be like,
right.
How old is he?
Grabbing my bags and I'm out.
Phil Foden, I think he's 20.
He's young. He's pretty young. He has plenty of time to be there.
19.
Yeah.
1 year old.
19. Nah, we can't be having this conversation yet.
Not yet. It looks weird, but it's more of a strategy
of killing time. It's a talking point for the media. That's all it is. The kid hasn't even hit he's barely grown into his shoes right now. I mean, come on, just give him 30 seconds at a time. By the end of the season, he'll have 5 minutes. By the end of the season,
he's
he'll have 5 minutes.
played a lot more, and he's actually contributed a lot to Man City. The little bit of pizza that he has.
He scored that really important goal last season. You can't forget that. And
that's reason enough to throw him in at minute 60?
Well,
no,
yeah.
You give him 10.
I mean, I just looked it up now just so I don't misquote him. You have Guardiola calling him the most talented player he has ever seen. So that could either be, just a cookie for the media, but for Guardiola to say that with the amount of talent he's got on his team. So we can't take his words now.
Check yourself.
I'm just saying.
I'm kind of going with Diego over here, man. I think it's a little shady.
Can we get past this? Because I want to talk about something more important.
I'm just saying.
I don't want to. Phil Foden is not the talking point for anybody who wants to hear. Jesus Christ.
I mean, I don't know. Unless you have something else to say, really.
Yeah, I want to get back to the topic that we were talking about. Lower half teams doing well against upper half teams. We have Watford versus Tottenham, Manchester United versus Liverpool, and Sheffield United versus Arsenal.
No, that's fine.
So can we go on to the next team?
If you want, sure.
All right, come on, let's do it.
All right, so we had what was arguably the standout match of the weekend.
Which actually was it a standout match?
It was.
It was trash. It was a bad game.
No, stop.
It was a bad game.
I don't think so. I really don't think so.
I think you guys played better this time than when you guys beat Chelsea 4-0.
That's a good one. I'll take that.
I think United did too.
I'll take that too.
I agree.
I'll take that.
But overall, I think it was a bad game.
I think it was bad in the sense that they read you guys perfectly and they hold you guys back, even though you guys did attack. And the fact that Salah wasn't on the pitch also really
I think that was a big deal.
I don't think that wasn't a big deal. I don't think that was at all. Where was Salah last year? Ashley Young's pocket.
Yeah.
That's where we found him. Yeah, so same thing would have happened this year. You guys locked the back line. They said, they played a back 3. No, they played a back 5.
Yeah,
and played on the counter.
Yeah.
Yeah, with
That's how
the
they
four
scored.
pressing high, not high on Liverpool side of the field, high on their own side of the field, so that they would get the quick recovery.
Right.
And that's what happened. 2 counters, one of them was a goal, done, and then you locked it up in the back. So that wasn't for an entertaining, high-scoring game like Marco had predicted. What was it, 5-1?
I did predict 5-1. I was close. I got the one right.
I'm pretty sure I said 1-1.
You did
I
say
called
1-1.
that.
You did say 1-1.
You did.
I'm pretty sure I did. How do you feel about Ricci starting, man? Because literally this guy is 2 completely different players if he comes on a sub versus if he starts.
It's so frustrating. Eddie loves him. Eddie loves him.
Of course he does.
And I love him too for what he did last year, but to me, he's not a starter. To me, he is someone you have to throw in. He's your super sub.
But do you always want to be a super sub? Like, put
No,
yourself
you don't.
in those shoes.
And
like,
he's supposed to be coming into his now. He's like 24 now. So it's about time that and that's what Klopp's doing. Okay, here's your opportunity. Get on the field, make something happen. For the first 3 runs, it appeared like he was going to do something. And then that stopped.
Well, what's his real role?
He's
Aside from
supposed-
super sub, but
he's
what
supposed to be a
positioning
striker.
wise?
He's supposed to be a
Okay,
striker.
that's what it is. But
And
you
he's
throw
a
him on the wing.
speedy striker, and we throw him on the wing. He's supposed to take on defenders, get in behind, and put in crosses or go to goal. And he wasn't doing it either. And then that goal, which, okay, let's talk about the goal.
Sure. Let's get into
Hand
it.
count. Was it a foul on Origi?
No.
Was it a foul? I'm the same.
I don't think
I
so.
couldn't believe that ESPN FC, Stevie Nicol, Craig Burley, Dan Thomas, Andrew Moreno, or whatever his name is.
Man, Alejandro Moreno.
Alejandro
My
Moreno.
man's got a hit list.
All of them.
ESPN,
All of
If
them.
ESPN ever listens to us, we're canceled, bro. That's it.
That's it. All of them said it was a foul. How could it
man.
be?
I don't think so, man. I think the funnier part is like you have
Just because you see the
have
tap
that,
on the VAR?
you have the meme come out where you get the picture from the slow-mo. Lindelof is reaching out on his left leg, and then Origi's on the floor holding his right ankle. Like,
What nobody wants to mention is the fact that his first touch was trash.
it was bad.
It
was
got
bad.
away from him.
It got away from
If
him.
you would have tried to turn the other way, yeah, it would have been a bad touch out to the sideline. He bad touched it into the middle of the field, which I think was Lindelof who came through
Correct. It was
and put in a
Lindelof.
pass to Daniel James.
That was
And
it.
then on top of that, I blame Van Dijk. Van Dijk should have shut down Daniel James. Shouldn't have given him the space to put in that free cross. If Van Dijk would have sped up and just blocked the angle even further, there would have been no sense.
Listen, credit to Van Dijk, but Daniel James, honestly, when he gets the runs on the wing, and that's something that I was excited watching because I was able to watch that game again afterwards. Man, when that guy hits stride, it's impressive to see. Like that's what he's good for.
But Van Dijk should have been able to read that. That's my point.
I don't think he would have been able to catch him.
He
honestly.
would have. He is fast. He's
I don't
very
think
fast.
He
kept up with Rashford.
Rashford took him down.
He kept up with Rashford and half
And
his
And
shirt.
Rashford's
Once,
faster than Daniel
once.
James.
Yes, but once it did happen only once.
Yeah.
But it was pretty
Oh,
funny.
it was
It was
hilarious.
good. It was good.
I'm
It was
like,
like,
damn.
they went into it. I think Van Dijk lost his footing, went straight to the ground. I just see Rashford
Dude,
get up and go.
I saw it. I'm like, yo, Rashford looked bigger now. I didn't realize he was that strong.
That's as much
Yo.
as he's gonna do all season 2.
Look, I'm going to give you your
Wow.
team props. I'm going to give you team props because
Wow.
Rashford did good on that goal too. His movement before the goal threw Matip off completely. Like it was quality.
Yeah, because
That was
he
impressive.
he was approaching like the 6-yard box and he started drifting inside. Matip went in front of him to anticipate the cross,
Checked in.
and then he checked in and he went back
Checked
back
in,
out.
checked out. I was like, fucking.
That was great movement.
But
But
it's funny that he does that movement when he wasn't playing striker at that point, was he?
no,
Not
no.
single man striker.
Technically
He was
no,
playing
because he was up front
wide,
with James. Yeah,
and
they were
that's where he
wide.
does better. So I don't know. You guys got your tactics right there, and then you lock down the box. That's all I can say.
So
All right,
what do you
I gave you compliments. Now come on.
get the hell
Hey,
out of
Chummy
here! I'm not
Flores.
saying nothing.
What
What
are
are you
you talking
talking
about?
about? I'm not gonna say shit about.
I don't know, wait,
Next
actually,
game?
no.
Jeez.
No, next game?
Never
I
mind.
give him Will.
I'm a little upset that after watching, because I watched highlights first, and then I saw the full match again on that goal that literally a tap in for Lallana. It was honestly a mistake by Rojo because he knew immediately. You could even see in some stills that they have, like camera angles, when they took the photo of Lallana tapping it in, you see Rojo's face like he knew he messed up. He knew he messed up big. But that's what happens. You have Robertson, who was actually, I'll give him that.
It was a bad cross
Wait,
though.
I thought it was Ashley Young's cover that he was.
Yes, it started with Ashley Young.
Ashley Young was
let that
here,
go.
Lallana here, and he just stood there. He was
Yeah,
like,
but it was Rojo in the middle. If Rojo had anticipated that in the middle the way he should have,
think you took a step forward
Correct.
and let Lallana just be by himself. basically.
Correct. That would have been cake. And it was 5 minutes from time, which is the worst part. But you know what? I'm going to take some respite in the fact that, the streak has ended. Liverpool come in second yet again.
Though?
Yeah, the win streak.
Well, the win streak, but they
yeah,
haven't
win
lost yet. So
That's
that
fine.
that
I'm
won't
being, go
continue.
ahead,
We
take
got the
that.
place we wanted. We wanted second on the record, so we're good.
Just like the rest of history.
Well, I think the highlight of my weekend of this game was your post at the beginning of the game.
Oh my
and
God.
Diego's answer to it,
Yeah.
which I thought was hilarious.
Oh my God. You guys have no idea. I was shitting bricks. I was like, if this is the result, I'm so screwed. I'm so screwed. I was so confident. And I went light. I was gonna go so much harder than that.
Yeah?
Oh my God. That was just a little, that was like, you know what? Let me be nice.
A little taste of
A
what
little
could
taste that I
happen.
could do. Woo! Thank God I didn't do more. I got some lined up, but I can't use them yet.
There were some comments by Club. I don't know if you saw any of that.
Yes, I did.
Post match.
I actually agree with him, which
He looked pretty livid, honestly.
All right.
Really upset.
Minus handball is minus handball is a handball.
He knew it immediately. Like after he celebrated, he was like, he knew he was gonna get called back.
Any comments about that? Like, come on.
That's the rules
That's
now.
it.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it. I saw the handball. I'm like, well, shit. Yeah, you controlled it completely with your hand. What are you gonna do? The one about Origi, this is where I'm a little confused with. And Klopp had a point. If the ref is hoping, he sees it. He was 6 feet away.
Right,
He was right there. He said, "That's not a foul," but he's thinking, you know what? I'll have VAR speak into my ear later on and tell me whether it was. I'll be safe. I probably would have called this before, but I won't now because you know what? VAR will double check for me. Lets a goal go through. Everybody's saying it's a foul. We're not, but a lot of the ex-professionals, a lot of the referees are saying it's a foul. VAR didn't call it, so who's really reffing the game? Is the ref giving up some of his authority just because he thinks that VAR is going to cover him? Or did he really not think it was a foul?
Yes, and so as of what we had the conversation with the ref A, those are precise just seconds of the ref saying, am I going to do it or not? And if he was not 100% sure that it was a foul, he was just going to let it run.
Yeah.
And that's where it is. He wasn't 100% sure.
Yes.
And that's why he was like, you know what? If I call this right now, I'm limiting the game. Let me see what happens.
I agree.
And
let it go.
That was another thing too, which to his merit, he definitely, and Solskjaer mentioned it in his post match as well. Like he let it be a men's game, like a proper derby, because there were a lot of cut-ins and fouls that if someone that was a bit more strict would have called them all the time, he just let it run because you know what, you're gonna do it. Guess what? They're gonna do it to you in like 2 minutes because that's the way the game was flowing. Well, I thought I definitely gave the ref credit for that because he read the flow of the game.
I feel like you guys got a lot more of the
develop.
calls, but I'll also give it to you because you guys had a lot more of the garra. You were going in harder, so we were gonna be a little late every time and catch you.
Sure.
That's why I'm not upset with the way the ref called it. But yeah, if for me it came down to the fact that Origi had his bad first touch. If the bad first touch
wouldn't have happened
and gotten touched the same, I think the ref calls a foul.
Of course.
But I think the ref sees, no, he had a bad first touch. He's going down because he's trying to make up for the bad first touch.
Right.
And that's what gave it up. So for me, it's on Liverpool's fault. He should have touched it better. Done.
That's it. So
but I do get Klopp's point. Like you got to wonder how are refs really thinking now. Because De La Feu, that was a penalty. But maybe the ref said, I think it's a penalty, but he might be diving because I know him and I know he tends to fall over a little bit. Let me see if VAR calls it off. Calls it a penalty. And actually it was. You see where the guy hooked him twice. So you tell me, was it a penalty or not?
I think the Del Phil one, honestly, that probably could have been a missed call there. But again, that was a good call out for the conversation we had with Rafe. They're not constantly just looking. He can't just be like, oh, check that for me. They're going to go by what the ref says on the field first. And then if they think to the contrary of that, they'll hit him up and be like, listen, you got to check that out. We think that was a foul that you missed. And that's where that phrase comes, clear and obvious error that the ref would have made on the pitch. So, you know what? I will give some sense to that, some credit to that, the fact that some of the authority is definitely being split. If it's straight down the middle, I don't think so. There might be a little more on one side or the other, depending on the actual team that's refereeing the game or the match. But I don't know. What do you see as an outsider for a 1-1 draw in a game like this?
I think it's been more beneficial to you guys than to you.
Definitely.
Of course, you lost 2 points. They're game one. And the only reason why I say it is because they are bottom. They benefited more because Ollie was able to show what the team can do. What sucks is that now Ollie has to show up the same way for every other game that comes up.
Exactly.
And if he doesn't, that is just going to push for him to be
That's a problem.
kicked out in December.
For sure. Yeah, that's
So
going to be an
if
issue.
he had this team before, where were they? Before, because they
why did they get up for this game but not every other game?
Yeah. So what's going to happen from
it's
here?
Liverpool.
On?
It's the big rivalry, but
from here on out, you guys are what, bottom 10? I think under
12. I think right now.
No, we slipped to 12 because the other results.
Sheffield won today, so that knocked you guys down.
Yeah, that knocked
right.
it down further.
Every game from here on out should be a rivalry on the pitch for Manchester United. And if it's not that, then Ollie's not getting it.
That's a lot of pressure for them, especially for the players. They should want that, of course, and myself as a fan, they should want to play like that every single match. But if that were the case, we would have been doing that already. So there's obviously some disconnect there, and I'm hoping Solskjaer gets it right. As far as the draw, the same thing he said. I'm disappointed it wasn't the 3 points because we're only a few minutes away from a win. I can't say that I'm content with it because it's like, I'm settling for a draw.
Did you see his interview afterwards? They tried to congratulate him, and he's like, I don't accept the congratulations.
Right, yeah. Because he knew it. Because he knew that they had it. He knew that the plan was working, at least how they had set up. That block, that defensive block, and then the wingers on the outside, it was working well. So, his fault, we had Ashley Young and Marcos Rojo on the pitch on the same time, and that was that was
like the dumbest thing, guys.
That was like, I don't know.
Like you have either or, you can't have them both together.
Yeah, I don't know how that worked out. But we move on, 1-1.
Let's go to the next upset.
So today, I think that one's actually. I was watching this match today in the afternoon. I couldn't believe that. First, there's the miss that.
Before that, because I'll be honest, I didn't watch the match.
I'm taking out of it.
I looked at my phone. I'm like, the game's about to start. Am I gonna watch it? And I'm like, no. Arsenal should do their thing, and they did their thing. They lost.
Oh my gosh!
But I saw the lineup.
Yeah.
Where's Lacazette? Where's Aubameyang? Where's...
All right, so Aubameyang's on the field, first of all.
No, he wasn't
came on as a sub.
Oh, okay. So Aubameyang was on the field. Lacazette was on the bench, but he just came back from injury. So yes, he was on the bench.
Obama started?
Yeah, Aubameyang started.
Obama, Pepe, and Saka started on the top 3. Okay. So let's start off from there. Lineup. We have been seeing that Tierney, that Holding, and Bellerin are fucking ready to start. And yet, this son of a bitch has not decided to use them yet.
They're back?
They're back.
Yeah,
Tierney's back.
Holding and Tierney were on the bench.
They're both on the bench. They're back to full force. This would have been a perfect game to ease them in.
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah.
This would have been the perfect. The whole Bellerin thing, I can see them trying to hold it because his was a big injury.
Yeah.
But Tierney wasn't.
I can hold him back a little bit. Give him another 2-3 weeks. Give him a couple minutes here and there. And then bring him in because Chambers is doing his job. But the fact that Tierney did not start pissed me off. The fact that the Holding didn't start pissed me off. The top 6, which was Guendouzi, Xhaka, Willock, which surprised me, but I was okay with.
That surprised me, yeah.
Saka, Aubameyang, and Pepe, I'm okay with. I'm okay with it. Because,
really?
Yeah, because these kids, because they're kids. They're 19-year-old, 3 on the pitch.
I thought it was like the EFL Cup 4th round or something.
But Saka, believe it or not, surprised the fuck out of me. And Willock, I saw them. They only gave him 40 minutes. Perfectly fine. I think that's more than enough.
Do you think Emery was benching some of his players for Europa League game on Thursday?
If he was, that's dumb. Because he usually plays with the kids on that one. He only has like one. Like Lacazette is gonna start that game, but because he needs minutes under his belt. Tierney's gonna start that one because Tierney can play both games with no problem, but he decided to use him on that game. Holding, they still have Mustafi on the bench. He can definitely play. Niles is there.
What happened today?
I have no idea. Like literally, the goal.
I saw the goal was off of a penalty. The defense was like non-focused.
No. There was 3 to header, and neither of them got it.
All of them missed and left the wide man open within the 6.
Yeah.
Like
I'm like, why? First of all, why?
It's defending 101, man to man in the box. Okay, you're covering zone. Why are there 3 people in the same zone?
All I saw was three guys jump 2 big hairs, that means that was David Luiz and Guendouzi right in front, and Saka right in front of them. And I'm like, the fuck? And like, who's in front of? It's like, you just left man open by himself. That was an easy ass fucking top and goal. And then 5 minutes later, Pepe has one, and he doesn't tap it in.
Tech ball.
Oh my god, man! I was like,
man, they've been killing Pepe all over the place.
Look, I feel bad for the kid because honestly, like, it's been hard for him to come in to the EPL. He still hasn't found his rhythm, and to the point that today, like the 60 minutes that he played, he got so, like, I don't know, the frustration, it was whatever. He would come back to defend, grab the ball there, and try to play
to run it, try to play it out.
Because he would never get the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So he came down, defend, grab the ball, and start playing back up. And I'm like, there's sometimes he can't just do that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
there's still a team,
really
still on the
everybody
pitch.
should be playing for you to help out a little bit more. That's not the case.
Honestly, I feel a little bad for Eric because he had been eating humble pie. He had been quiet for weeks. And then finally, lately, over the last week or so, me and him have been getting a little more cool about Liverpool and Arsenal. And we're just talking. He's like, yeah, bro, I don't know. We're like quietly getting up there. It's like he started talking about Arsenal again and getting excited and be like, yo, we're going to get there. And then, boom, this happens. And then he doesn't show up to the podcast.
Yes.
Like,
I know. He says that text out, which is fucking hilarious. So yes and no. So it's terrible on the Arsenal side. Defensive-wise, we have this struggle. We know we have the players there. We just not using them. It's Emery's decision. I don't back him up on that. I think he should be using the proper defenders, which is Tierney, Holding, and Bellery. The top 6, I have no problem, aside from Xhaka, him utilizing Saka. Saka, to me, that's a kid to watch for the future. His yellow card, where he got for diving, he didn't dive. It wasn't a penalty, but he did hit the ground, so that will cause him to trip, and that's why he fell. But it wasn't for yellow. But the movement that he made right before it, I was like, between 3 players to get where he would get.
Question. Are you guys the top 14?
Yeah, we're definitely going to be there.
This is a game to... Dude, Sheffield had 3 straight home games losing. It was the first time they beat you in 13 years.
Did you also see how they were defending?
Yeah, they were organized.
And 4.
They were organized.
And
they had a block of 6.
Anything.
Every time you guys had the ball on either the left or right wing, easily a block of 6 right behind the ball.
It was almost literally
bottom of the
impossible to
half type of defending. We saw it in the Manchester United Liverpool game. We're seeing it in the Sheffield United.
But it was
Arsenal
like
they saw it in
they
the Watford
knew
game.
exactly. They scored the goal. Okay, this is it. We got 1 goal in. We're defending. That's literally what they did. Second half, we dominated the whole game.
Yeah,
but
you
can see the line.
They were launching the ball forward whenever they had the chance. Sure.
That's literally what they did. And
there was one
it.
run, I think it was like the last 10 minutes or something like that. And like they had a breakaway, but instead of breaking away, like they went right to the corner flag. You remember that?
Yeah, because the coach told them to do that. Yeah, he said, "How much time do you got? 2 minutes." It's like, go to the corner. And that's what they did. He lost it like 2 seconds later, but still, that was the plan.
That's a tactic.
That's the tactic.
It is hard to beat
that.
It is hard to beat that.
It is, especially.
But we actually were able to take it from them. But it also felt like at the last 5 minutes of extra time, you could just see the midfielders were just out of it. But
they were not.
They never took advantage of the fact that they did that. When they don't have the fucking 11 players on the other side of the field, they only have 5 or 6 of them. That's when you should have taken advantage of it and see what you can produce. Midfielders were just touching it on the way back. So it was missed opportunities on our end, which Pepe had the clearest one of them all.
How do you feel about Lacazette actually being back?
I'm happy because you saw glimpses, small glimpses, but like when he's back behind, like when he has the player to his back, and you know that he can just flip it and do something about it.
Yeah.
Because he did it against you guys once or twice already. So that's what I was hoping to see. Not this game. I know it sucks for us. He's gonna be back for the Europa League. I'm guessing he's gonna get some minutes because he just got back from injury, and then we'll see him for the next weekend game.
Damn, 1-0 away to Sheffield. Poor away form hits Arsenal again. That's it for EPL. Really, we're doing a pretty good time here.
We do want to stateside.
Yeah, we're gonna bring it back stateside because we have some important matchups going on now. Really exciting ones. MLS playoffs are currently going through.
Yeah.
I'm going to start it out with, our local team, New York Red Bulls. They had a good grasp.
You're right. They are local. They play in Jersey.
Wow. They had a good grip on the match, up 3-1, halftime. I have no idea what happened, man. I have no idea what happened.
Give me a sec. To all the Red Bulls fans out there, this is sincere from my heart. I'm very, very sorry I watched it. I'm very sorry. I have been trying to be a Red Bulls fan for years, and I was a Metro Stars fan. And even when I went to those games, they would lose. So I made a vow to not watch Red Bulls, and you guys got what the supporter shield several years in a row.
Not really.
Oh,
last year, yes.
Last year, but a couple years before that too.
Yeah.
You got to very close to some finals, and then every time I'd watch it close to the final, you guys would lose. So next year I won't watch one game, I promise.
Oh my God.
The funniest part is actually true because every time he's gone to actually watch the game,
Yeah.
they've always walked away with the loss. It's fucking funny as hell.
It's ridiculous.
It is.
Dang,
It is.
that's
It is
the
funny.
day
So
of
the
the
Edgar
game,
curse
the
is
day
real?
of Tech Bowl.
Yeah.
Did we win or lose that guy?
I'm tied.
No, it was a 0-0 tie. They didn't win.
Oh, Jesus.
But the fact that you were there.
But I didn't watch.
I think you didn't watch. You
But you were
actually-
there.
I was
You were
there.
there.
Hey, Sky Blue FC versus Orlando Pride. You also tied 1-1.
They all tied.
Yes,
Yeah,
tied
but I
one.
didn't
Because
watch.
you didn't watch, you were
so,
there.
Yeah.
That's why it was a tie because you were there.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So for Liverpool to be doing as good as they are with me watching every game,
Well, it's because
It's a feat.
across the pond. Come on, there's a distance, bro.
there's a bad luck distance.
Yeah.
There's a
Okay.
range to it.
Gotcha.
There's a
and I think
range to
the,
it, yeah,
the
yeah.
range doesn't make it all the way over there.
I should move to
Just
California.
Just to make it even better. Just don't see Eddie before he leaves on Wednesday.
Oh, good call. Good call.
Yeah,
Good call.
yeah,
I can contaminate him with my bad
Yes,
luck, and
yes.
then he brings it to top.
He's gonna go.
And
He's
then
gonna, he's
goes
gonna
to
watch
watch
Spurs.
Tottenham.
Yes. Imagine Spurs
think-
wake up that game.
I don't
Good
know. I think that deviates from MLS, but
You're right.
looking at
My parents
Spurs,
got there.
man, if that's a blowout, which is very, very possible. Anyway, we had I was really
Just putting it out
disappointed.
there.
I was really disappointed at the result. I was a little upset, sure, because I definitely thought that, with a lackluster season, Red Bulls were going to get it together in the playoffs. Because that's what it is, There's the few short games. You do well in like 5 or 6 games, and then you're champion. I mean, I rate the Supporter Shield above. I'll say it right now, loud and clear. I rate the Supporter Shield above MLS Cup because that's it's a lot harder to do it across several months
Okay.
for a whole season versus 4 or 5 matches
and
at the end.
Technically, it should be a lot more important that
It
MLS
should.
allows it to be.
Right.
It's not. It's a title.
It's got a
because
crap name
you-
to begin with. Supporter Shield.
Yeah, there's
Supporting what?
No,
Like, it
it
doesn't
should
make
definitely
sense.
start off with changing the name. It should be like the MLS Cup or whatever. They should have 2
League
versions
champions.
of it. League champions, yeah.
Yeah.
But so Supporter Shield
we
means
have
just means
like-
that.
A league champion, and then like a Champions League right after.
Pretty
It's like
much.
Yeah.
that's like MLS Champions League. The top from each division play each other in a championship cup. Okay, so it's a combo of both, but the only one that matters is like usual. The Champions League only really at the end of the only one that matters. This is the only one that matters here. The MLS Cup.
So watching the game, how did you feel about how Red Bulls did at least at the end? I think that last goal, 105th in extra time, off a deflection
You know what?
into the corner.
What I
was
was
nice.
mostly mad at, it wasn't the deflection. He got lucky with that, but that was MLS. That was the Red Bulls reacting to a cross. That initial cross should have never been put
Should've
in.
never happened.
He should have never had that space to get into the box from the right hand side.
Mhm.
But they let him come in. They let him put it over. Then mayhem
And
happens.
there's a photo that came out where you see the ball. It's like literally this close to the bar, and it slipped in right in the corner. I can't.
Look, that's
I know,
a little
Philly
bit
though.
I know
Philly's
you're-
not bad.
that's a little of Marco Fabian's quality, his touch, plus
Right.
the diversion that put that ball in, plus the other one that it just happened. Look, to a person that watches just for the sake of be able to troll, because that's all I wanted to do. The first thing I did, I was quiet. These guys were going at it with text messages. I'm like, I'm gonna keep quiet. If I chime in right now with my luck, when Red Bulls are gonna win, that's not what I want. I waited. The minute the ref hit the whatchamacallit, the whistle, I went and posted pictures. I told them that there was always next year.
I hate you.
Gave him a Michael Jordan crying.
Oh, that's right.
Oh
Nice.
man, it was definitely, in my eyes, it was definitely a nice way.
Well, you deserved it, Marco, after the shitty weekend you've had.
I had pretty bad.
We haven't even mentioned Real Madrid.
We'll get to it later.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to it.
So-
We'll
you
talk
wanna
to it
mention?
in the Champions League.
Yes. Just to round it out, we had LA Galaxy, Minnesota. A really pretty sweet hit from Dos Santos to make it 2-1.
My favorite part about that was Ibra's celebration.
Word.
That was pretty dope.
Yeah.
My man ran up to the crossbar and grabbed onto it like it was a
Yeah.
basketball hoop, and it was just like, that was dope. That was dope. It wasn't even his goal, but yeah. That was
Yeah,
dope.
that was awesome. Not really much to say there, but I think the drubbing, because it was, like you said, Toronto, DC United. For DC United to score that lifeline right at the end to go into extra time, and then just completely capitulate, like they just fell apart. 5-1 at the end. I don't.
It's crazy, right?
And
it's
they were
like-
quality goals.
Yeah, they were good goals.
Very nice.
Which is funny because Toronto hasn't been.
They
this
haven't
good
been.
this
No,
season.
they haven't.
But and DC United have been decent, and for DC United to end leaving this way with Rooney's last game being this specific game,
yeah,
it's like, here you go, Rudy. You said that MLS wasn't whatever. Have fun at Champions League.
yeah.
Or championship. What is it called?
Championship.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I mean,
5-1. Bye.
that game ended
thrashing.
first, so I was kind of glad that DC United had lost. A little sad that Rooney went out that way, but obviously he had already made plans and announced it that he was leaving. So I feel like he kind of checked out before this game even started. Really,
Could have been, and I think if he was 100% in, I think he would have helped
you
DC.
think the outcome would have been different.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he has somewhere to be afterward.
I got no qualms about that game.
Well, I think that's it for right now. For kickoff, we're gonna take a little break right here. We had a good time. We'll be back in a few minutes for OT.
OT. Never much love when we go OT.
That was a good Instagram halftime.
Yo, dude, let me just say, más burro, bro. Más burro. All right, I got it out there.
The ears are up there. The ears are up there. Remember?
Yeah, for real.
So what's up, guys? We just had a really interesting halftime. Like I said, if you guys ever want to join, send us some questions. Tune in for the Instagram Live. It's really fun to have you guys comment, interact with us, hear from you, get some banter in there if you want to talk some smack to the Benchwarmers on the show. But we're in OT right now.
Yep. Before we
Overtime.
get to OT, let's talk about tech ball. Guys, the table's out there. It's out for rent. If you don't want to rent it, if there's public town events, let us know what town it is. We'll talk to the town and see if we can show up for the table for free. And then we'll just all play for a day. All
Right,
We'll make it
exactly.
happen. So
if you play for an academy, if you're part of let's say a traveling team, if you have any events that are going on, like Edgar had said, like fairs, carnivals, stuff like that, we've gone to several already, and we're really comfortable with doing that. We'd be glad to get out and give you guys the experience, like
even
like
this
you
one,
said.
Any high school soccer players out there, talk to your coaches. Your coaches have permission to rent out the gymnasium. So if over the winter you guys want to have the table at your spot, let us know. We'll come through. We'll set
Get
up
some
the table.
practice in.
Get
Yeah.
some practice in the winter.
That'd be
and,
great.
You know, it'll be a good time. So just think about it. Tell your coaches.
That being said, we're gonna dive right into overtime right now and talk about some of the world leagues. It's pretty tight out there,
All
right?
right,
Edgar?
real quick question. This is why I brought it up before the show. Marco, which is the most competitive league at the moment?
UPL. No,
Wrong.
Bundes-
That's exactly what I wanted you to answer. Now, can you take it down?
Yeah.
It's Bundesliga, right?
Bundes-
Yeah,
Bundesliga,
but
man.
where's your reaction to it?
It's EPL because that's what it's been more consistent throughout the past years.
And the most ironic part is it's the least competitive of all the leagues at the moment.
Right now.
Yes.
Right now,
Has the
at
biggest
this
gap.
moment, it's the least competitive.
We'll get to what is the most competitive league right now. Serie A, you got 1 point difference between Juve and Inter.
Which
22,
historically-
21.
I mean, historically, yeah, it's always been Juve, but
Juve running away with it.
they're not running away with it now.
No, not at all. I think there's only about like 5 or 4 points between them and like fourth place. La Liga, the same thing, 1 point difference. You have Barcelona with 19, Real Madrid with 18.
And
losing,
they just got it.
Right. They just got to the top, losing this weekend against, it was Mallorca, right?
Yeah. All right,
That
Marco, what
was-
happened? Here it is. Marco, here's your 5 minutes of...
RM talk?
It is. There's nothing, literally. It's just what we've struggled all this time. Defense.
Wow.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
How do you
But
feel
Defensive
about,
errors.
what about Luka Jovic? He's looking like
He's
the face he
he's
made.
he's
Oh
the
my
equivalent of Pepe.
God.
He's the equivalent of Pepe.
That
That's
sounds-
being malicious, bro.
One
I
goal
want to
each.
take those, make it a meme.
It's nothing. Bale's out. Modric out. They're not coming back until maybe next year. I think
Yeah.
Modric
Bale out?
Bale's out.
Get
Yeah.
the, what happened?
Got injured.
When?
Injury.
International break?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
wow.
he's always
He-
been
he-
made out of glass,
Yeah,
man.
and
He
he's-
really
he's
has.
gonna be out for a minute, so there we go again.
That's tough.
Yeah, dude. Now, right now they're starting to talk about next year.
Already?
Yeah,
That's where the conversation's at.
pretty much. That's
Champions
every outlet
Copa del
that
Rey.
you look at, everything is about next year, which is weird.
Wow.
Because the world is gonna be bought by Real Madrid or every player out there.
Yeah.
But nah, man, just like this weekend, it was bad.
Replace it down or no?
After the year, yeah, I would do it.
Get rid of him?
I think it's like
Now, when
you
you
walk
say
away with something.
when you say year, do you mean calendar year, January, or
No.
season?
Let him finish the season,
Okay.
whatever he does, and then be like, all right, thank you very much. I came with it to
Okay.
do what I have to do. But don't give him a boot. He's not somebody that you can give the boot.
All right, so I'm gonna ask both of you right now because this is something that I read actually before getting on the pod tonight. Reports of Jadon Sancho being scouted for a massive. This would be
150.
enormous. 150 million by Real Madrid. You think that's gonna go through in January or no?
Not in January.
No?
Not in January.
Not in January, no.
Would that be too late?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And the way Borussia's doing right now, they still have a shot of winning the league. So I think he'd want to stay till the end, see if he can win the Bundesliga.
I think he would look into seeing where Real Madrid is at the time. That's one, and seeing if they still have a chance in Champions League. That's another.
Okay.
I think Dortmund right now has better chances in Champions League than Real Madrid does, because Real Madrid has won and tied one. I think, or lost both.
Mm-hmm.
So this game tomorrow is very important because this will make or break kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he has to check where are they standing if he wants to accomplish something like a league title or Champions League title or something like that.
I think he shouldn't go. I think he should stay at Borussia
You think?
for at least a couple more
Do
seasons.
you think it could be another Pulisic move?
That's the problem.
Yeah,
That's
could
the
be.
concern is that except for Pulisic, when Sancho came in, Pulisic was just benched.
Yeah.
Or they started throwing him in a different position, which he kind of
Didn't
learned.
benefit.
But, all right,
At all?
it hasn't. But Sancho hasn't done that yet. Sancho he had success last season. He did really good this year. He's going back into the same position. He's not playing out of position. So that's on him. That's good for him. And if that means that it's going to continue for him. So in Dortmund, he's doing all right. Now, would I take him? Yes, but then again, the speculation of Mbappe coming through is also very big,
that's
and they
another
kind of
one.
play the same position. So is it fair to either one of them if the other one's on the bench, unless one of them plays a striker role, and then that's just a whole different ball game.
That you just
Yeah, it's
there's
too, it's
a
too
whole
much.
conversation there.
Yeah, that's why I was like,
It's not Real Madrid radio time.
No, that's why
That sounds
I
like
hold myself
almost-
back.
Yeah. Well, I mean, definitely. If they get those two players, that would be an enormous Real Madrid side. We already thought that was going to happen with Hazard coming in, but obviously that hasn't really come to fruition. Moving on to the next league, though, we have the English Premier League is also right now one of the biggest gaps between first and second. But very interestingly, something that Edgar and I were kind of bouncing off of each other, you still feel like any of these teams can take it. Like any of these teams can kind of bounce up, just like we saw today. And no, like banter aside from the Sheffield result, just like Newcastle against United, just like Norwich against City, like anybody can win. And even though that gap is the biggest out of, I guess, these five major leagues that we're pointing out right now, that's all we can really say about it, right?
That's why I think it still feels like it's the most competitive, even though it really isn't on paper at the moment.
Mhm.
I mean, literally for that 6-point gap to disappear, Liverpool just has to tie 3 more games.
That's
and then
over.
we're on to a race again. So that's possible. You could see how much we've struggled against other teams. The last 4 games haven't been great.
They haven't been
So
great,
it's always that feeling like, oh shit, Man City's on our coattails. Like they're right there. They can just do what they did to Crystal Palace, and we're screwed again. You know,
Yeah.
so
And just put games
that's
away.
really it. But the most competitive.
Most competitive right now is Bundesliga, because we have 2 teams, first and second, tied on 16 points.
Mm-hmm.
And then between first and 10th place is a 5-point difference.
That's crazy.
That's insane, isn't it? So we have a bunch of teams that are in there, and we're
Who's in
gonna
first place right now.
we're gonna
I
count
know
them
it's
out.
not Munich.
Mönchengladbach.
Borussia
Really?
Mönchengladbach. Yes, they are first on goal difference
Munich
with
is in
60
third?
points.
Mm.
Munich is in third. Wolfsburg second. The rest of the teams that are involved, we have Borussia Dortmund, Red Bull Leipzig, Freiburg, Schalke, Frankfurt, Leverkusen, and then Hertha BSC at
I'm
the
actually
end.
surprised Schalke 04 is
Hanging
up
in
there
Yeah.
because last season they were barely out of relegation.
They were really struggling last year, definitely.
So
That's very
it's
interesting.
interesting to see. But
This
does
is
does this mean that the league is getting a little better, or does this mean that Bayern Munich aren't really fighting their spot and dominating like they usually do?
That's a question. So the only way I think we can understand is if they do good in Europa League, if they get to to the quarterfinals, if they get too
Which is
far
a standard
into the
for them.
Champions League, and then once we find not just of them, but of the other teams that are in these European competitions, if they get deep into the competitions, then we know they have a strong league because they can compete on both fronts.
Yes.
But if they don't get there, and
So you're talking about the 6 teams or 5, whoever. How many do they have on each? They have 4 and 2, right? 4 in Champions League, 2 in Europa.
Correct.
So
Yeah,
those
so-
6 teams have to remain,
Yes.
wherever they are, have to remain in the
Yeah.
top 6, 7 to see if they're actually
yes,
a strong.
that's
I-
how I
I-
feel.
yeah,
That's how I
that's
would
a good-
gauge it. Because right now between them, there's nothing.
Yeah, we've seen it like Leicester City couldn't do it the year that they made it to Champions League. We've always said it from the beginning of the season that we feel that Wolves aren't going to be able to do it.
Yep.
Now that they're in the Europa League, plus
They're
they're
having trouble. Yep.
there's a possibility they can be having troubles there. So not everybody are built. Their teams are not built to be able to do those kind of things.
So that's the defining factor between those. But for the most part, I think that it's just early, still too early to tell. It's going to turn into in what the league is. The teams that are built the strongest are going to be able to last the longest. So let's say 6 weeks from now, there's definitely going to be a gap that appears because the stronger teams will be able to stay closer to the top of the table.
That's right.
So that's what it is, boys and girls. Whoever thought the EPL, you were wrong.
At least for
Well,
right
I
now.
did.
At least right now.
I was wrong. I say it. I'm okay with it. I was
Say it
wrong.
loud and proud.
I'm proud to say that I was wrong multiple times throughout this year. From the
Especially with
beginning
the
of the
last.
season. From the beginning of the season to the last time I
I
predicted
should have
something.
known when he predicted 5-1. God damn it.
And,
Anyways, keep going.
right now, moving on. We have Champions League this week. I think that's the kind of cherry on top. After the international break and everything, we're really getting back into the rhythm of all of these matches coming back. However, some of the matchups, we're looking at them before, making up the docket for the episode today. I think one of the games that were really standing out to us was Leipzig-Napoli.
Yeah.
That's actually on Wednesday.
Yes.
No, Salzburg-Napoli. Sorry, Salzburg-Napoli. And then Inter is playing Borussia
I put
Dortmund.
Leipzig, my fault, bro.
Yeah, it was-
Salzburg. It's always a Red Bulls team.
It's always a Red Bulls team.
It's hard. Sometimes you just can't tell one or the other.
So we have Inter against Borussia Dortmund also on Wednesday. Most of the better games, I believe, are on Wednesday.
I agree.
Talking about tomorrow, though, specifically, we have Atletico Madrid hosting Bayer Leverkusen, PSG traveling to Club Brugge, Juventus hosting Lokomotiv. I think Spurs, banter aside, hosting Red Star Belgrade. If that is an L for Pochettino, I think it could be over really soon.
That's catastrophe.
Really soon.
I
That's
think
catastrophe.
if it is an L for Pochettino over Spurs, it's a conversation that we're going to have to really dive into.
But Red Star Belgrade are not an easy team.
They're
They
not an
aren't.
easy team.
They're at
People
home.
think they're easy, but Tottenham's at home. Tottenham's at home.
Tottenham's at home.
So if they lose to Red Star Belgrade, it could be writing on the wall.
Yeah,
Wow.
we're going to have to dive in a little bit more into Spurs.
Yeah, so Galatasaray, they're hosting Real Madrid. That's going to be interesting.
Yes.
City hosting Atalanta. That might be pretty easy for them. A really quick very short shout out to Libertadores. The semifinals is going to be
Soon, right?
tomorrow night.
Yeah.
We have Boca Juniors against River Plate, one of the biggest rivalries in the world. I think that merits some mentioning, or at least shouting out
Last
on the
season,
podcast.
we were watching it here
Yeah.
live while we were recording.
What are the odds that it gets canceled again?
I don't
think it's
think
because
so.
semifinal, it
I haven't
won't.
heard much.
Okay.
No, I haven't heard
I
anything.
think because the semifinal won't. The last time it was a final game, they had to cancel it because it was going to be too much.
I did read about. I think it was like Argentinian newspapers. They were saying to return the favor of Bernabeu having hosted
Yeah.
the game last year, that they were stepping up to host the El Clásico due to everything going on in Catalonia right now. So
That would have been dope, and they would never
That
do
would-
it,
that
but
would
would have been dope.
that would have
That
been
would
really
happen.
sweet.
Now they could have come here to do it here at MetLife Stadium. I would have welcomed them anytime. Because Atletico is going to play Villarreal.
Villarreal.
Villarreal
Yeah,
in
it's
happening?
Miami.
They
It's
made
official?
it,
Florida,
yeah.
whatever, yeah.
It looks like it, yeah. They made a petition. It looks like it went through. I don't know about the ramifications to soccer in the States. I understand completely why you want to go into Miami, because that market there is huge. The soccer fan base is big. You have Inter Miami also coming onto the scene soon, Beckham's team. But I just feel that bringing soccer or football from the international, I guess, selection that's out there, bringing it here is just going to dilute the fact that people will think that MLS or the soccer that we have on offer isn't good enough, and that we need to have people visit us for us to see a proper game.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. Maybe I'm looking
keep
into
it
it
with
too
friendlies,
much.
and that's it.
Yeah, maybe I'm looking into it too much, but it's an official match. Like it's fine. Like keep that on your side. We have soccer here, you know. I think to the credit for MLS and for the soccer that we have stateside, it's worth mentioning. That's actually a really good segue, because we have the bye week over here. New York City, they're hosting Toronto, so we're gonna see how that game goes. If they get squashed 6-1 instead, then
As
Doesn't work that
As
way.
opposed to
Doesn't work that
5-1.
way. I have to call it.
I don't know.
Actually happen.
All right, so I'm gonna put you on the line right now, real quick. What's your score prediction for that game?
Oh man, I fear Toronto. We've always had tough
That's
times
respect.
in playoffs times with them.
But you're playing on
3-2. We're playing at home.
But where is your home?
This time it's gonna be Citi Field.
Seriously?
Yeah, Yankees can give us the boot.
They gave you the boot.
Well, they're
The
also
Yankees are
they're
out.
all they're
Yeah, the
oh,
Yankees
they're
are
out.
the
They're
Yankees
out?
are out.
Oh, maybe they might change it, but as of right
Yeah.
now, it was. Citi Field.
I remember the contingency plan being Citi Field. I'm not
Yeah.
sure how that's looking though. But Sounders are going to host Salt Lake. We have Atlanta. They're going to host winners Philly Union, and we have LAFC, like we mentioned, against LA
El
Galaxy.
Tráfico.
El Tráfico that we kind of brought up on Instagram Live. That's going to be a really interesting game to see who comes out on top, because we got an awesome match this season. I think that one
Yeah.
ended up 4-3, if I remember correctly. And Vela and Ibra were just going at it back to back.
Definitely must-watch game. So
I think
guys,
that's a
make sure you
must-watch
tune
game.
in. So that's
So-
on the 24th. But yeah, I think that's gonna be more interesting than Champions League games.
It might
my
be.
God,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, I'm actually looking
Actually,
forward
yeah.
to that a little
Yeah, I
more.
wanna
And you're
watch
gonna
that
be able
one.
to watch it at the comfort of your home.
Absolutely, yeah. Not from the comfort of my
Your
desk.
Just listening to it, like peeking over, like.
Yeah.
We also, don't forget, we have the greatest European competition ever known to man, Europa League, on Thursday,
Thursdays.
coming in as well. The last thing to sign off on, and I wasn't going to say it because Edgar puts on the same sour Marco face when we bring it up, but the Ballon d'Or nominees came out today, and it's a really long list. We're going to post it up. I'll make sure to have a post for you guys, because we want to know who you think is going to take it away. There's I think a record number of Liverpool players on the short list.
2?
Yeah, like 6.
I think
Oh.
there's like 6.
I saw 2.
There's like 6. You have the usual suspects: Ronaldo on there, Lionel Messi on there. For the Copa Trophy, which is the Young Players Award, there's a few interesting names on there.
I love the Guendouzi's in it.
Guendouzi is in it. Yes, Guendouzi made
Sancho.
it. Sancho's in there. I
Vinicius,
believe
he carried the team last year a
Vinicius.
little bit.
Yes, Vinicius was definitely in there as well. That's going to be interesting to see who gets away with
Joao
that.
Felix and Delight.
Yes. Or let's see here. There's also, I do want to point out, the Ballon d'Or Feminine. So for the women's side, we have some pretty big names on here. Alex Morgan, Viviane Miedema, the Dutch player. Megan Rapinoe, Leek Martins, who did really well, the other Dutch player, Wendy Renard, Rose Lavelle, some huge names on here, Tobin Heath. So that I think that one's actually harder to predict than the other two Ballon d'Or trophies or awards. But that's really it. We're gonna sign off. Before we go, Marco, where can everyone catch us?
You can listen to us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Stitcher by searching Benchwarmers FC.
And you can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter by searching the handle Benchwarmers FC Un.
And you can watch all our YouTube videos and tech ball videos on YouTube at Benchwarmers FC TV.
Make sure you drop us a line, including more questions for the famous mug, by emailing benched@benchwarmersfc.com. And when you get to any of our social media channels, guys, we remind you every time because we want to hear from you. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell because you are the most important listeners to us in the world. That being said, we're the Benchwarmers, where the bench is always warm. Peace out, guys.
101.